So, the film kicks off, and it's 2017 a.m. Imagine this, 17 children from the same city, all in the dead of night, walk right out of their homes. They all run off in a single direction, and they never come back. They just vanished. And get this, even with CCTV cameras and alarms in their houses, by the time their poor parents figured it out, it was way too late. The only thing the CCTV footage showed was bizarre. Every single one of those kids ran off at the exact same time, 2017, making the same strange planes pose with their arms out. Even stranger, they were all from the same class at the same school, all 18 kids, but only one child, Alex, was left behind. 17 disappeared. Can you imagine the terror? Their teacher, a woman named Justine, immediately fell under suspicion. Of course, she was the closest adult to all of them. The police started interrogating Justine, Alex, and Alex's bewildered parents, but the investigation went nowhere. A whole month went by, and there wasn't a single lead. Nothing. Now, the story shifts, and we see everything through the eyes of each character, starting with Justine, the teacher. When she went to school that first day, she was stunned to see only Alex in her class. The others were gone. Soon, the horrible truth hit her. Because of the suspicion, she was targeted by the heartbroken, furious parents. Even after the police cleared her, the parents absolutely would not let up. They started calling her a witch, accusing her of using black magic to make their children disappear. It was relentless. This whole ordeal drove Justine to the edge. She was completely distressed and started drinking heavily to cope. When the school finally reopened after a month, a huge parents' meeting was called. All the victim parents were there, and they were still pointing fingers at Justine. She pleaded with them. "I am innocent. I love your children. I would never hurt them." Even the principal defended her, saying she was telling the truth, that she was a victim herself. But then, a single father named Archer, whose son was missing, jumped up and started screaming, calling her a witch. The crowd instantly lost control. They started rushing her, looking like they were ready to kill her. The principal and security managed to pull her out and rushed her home, telling her to lock herself inside and not come out. Shaken, Justine went home, sat in her car, and started drinking again. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. "Who is it?" she called out. No answer. She looked through the peephole. Nothing. Feeling uneasy, she looked out the windows, but still saw no one. Just as she was about to relax, a loud bang, bang, bang on the door startled her. "Who is it? Go away!" she shouted, panicked. Eventually, she grabbed a tool for protection and slowly went outside. Someone had spray-painted "Witch" in huge letters right across her car. The next morning, she went to the police to report the vandalism. While there, she saw an officer she knew, a friend. Then she went to school, where the principal strongly suggested she not come back for a while. The situation was too tense. Justine desperately asked if she could talk to Alex, but the principal insisted. "The parents are too angry. You need to stay away from the school and especially the children until this all blows over." Dejected, she met her officer friend at a bar. She noticed a bandage on his hand and asked about it. He vaguely explained it was a strange injury from a case. She confided in him about being called a witch and the vandalism. He managed to cheer her up a little, but the next day she went to him with a hunch. "I think Alex knows something. We need to talk to him." The officer shut her down, telling her to let the police do their job and stay out of it. But Justine couldn't let it go. She ignored him and followed Alex home from school. She watched him go inside, then rang the bell. No answer. She asked. Silence. No sound at all. Something was terribly wrong. All the windows of the house were covered with paper. She snuck around to the back gate, and luckily, a tiny bit of paper had been peeled away from one window. She peeked inside. The house was pitch black, and she saw two people sitting in the darkness. It was terrifying. In her haste, she knocked over a shovel, making a loud clang. She froze, expecting them to rush out, but nothing happened. She looked again. The two figures were sitting there like statues. Freaked out, she told the principal her suspicion. "Something is wrong with Alex's parents. Alex is in trouble." The principal promised to look into it, but repeated his warning to her. "Stay away." Later, Justine went to a store to pick up her rings. Unbeknownst to her, a woman was following her. This woman suddenly grabbed Justine's hair, threw her down, and threatened her with a bottle, saying, "You came to my house right." A young boy working in the store rushed over, grabbed the furious woman, and threw her out. That night, Justine finally got home and fell asleep. She had a horrible dream. She was alone in her class. All the kids were sitting with their heads bowed, and the clock showed 2017. Then, Alex looked up and smiled, a terrifying Joker-like grin. Justine woke up in a cold sweat. She tried to go back to sleep, but as she lay down, she saw an unknown woman on her roof, whose face also looked like a scary Joker. She screamed, realizing she was having a dream within a dream. The next day, she returned to Alex's house, determined to talk to him. He was cold and distant. "Don't follow me," he said, and went inside. Justine refused to leave. She knocked again, shouting. She decided to camp outside, thinking someone had to come out eventually. Night fell. She must have dozed off because suddenly the door opened. Alex's mother came out, scissors in hand, rushing toward Justine in a strange, manic way. But when she saw Justine asleep, she paused. Instead of attacking her, she simply cut a lock of Justine's hair and went back inside. And that's where Justine's story ends for now. Next, the perspective shifts to Archer, the frantic single father who had been calling Justine a witch. Losing his son had completely broken him. He spent all his time watching the same video recording of his boy, hoping to spot a clue. He constantly hounded the police, but they kept giving him the same line, "The investigation is ongoing." We know now that it was Archer who went after Justine. He followed her home from the store, rang her bell, knocked on her door, and wrote W.I. Tetch on her car. He was truly desperate. One night, Archer woke up suddenly. It was 2017 a.m. He heard a noise and immediately thought it was his son. He searched the house, but found no one. Then the front door opened. He looked outside and saw his son in the distance, running away in that familiar plane pose, disappearing into a house. Archer ran after him, searching that house, until he found his son lying in an upstairs room. "Son, where did you go?" he cried. The boy didn't answer. Archer broke down, hugging him, weeping. "Forgive me, son. I failed you. I missed you so much. I love you, my life." Then, a light shone on the boy's face, and instead of his son, it was that terrifying Joker-like person. Archer bolted awake, drenched in sweat. Like Justine, it was a nightmare, but it gave him a vital clue. He remembered his son ran toward a nearby tower. He pulled out a map and drew a line from his house to that tower. Then, he went to another parent's house and drew a line from there too. His theory: all the children's disappearances had to be connected, and where those lines intersected, that's where the children would be. He marked the intersection point and started driving there. On the way, he saw Justine's car at a gas station. He went to talk to her. Justine was immediately irritated. "Look, leave me alone. I am not a witch. I'm trying to figure out who is behind this," she snapped. But then, in an instant, her eyes went wide. The school principal, his face covered in blood, was running toward them, making the plain pose. He attacked Justine, wrapping his hands around her throat. Archer quickly intervened, fighting the principal, who was overcome with a terrifying, unhinged rage, eyes bugging out, impossibly strong. He overpowered Archer and started strangling him too. Next up is the officer, Justine's friend. He's driving when he spots a young man looking suspiciously into a house. The man ran, but the officer caught him. "Weapons, drugs," the officer demanded. The boy said no, but when the officer searched him, he accidentally pricked his finger on a syringe. The boy was a drug dealer. Furious, the officer punched him, then quickly treated his own injury. Later, he told the dealer, "I'm letting you go, but you keep this quiet, you hear? Now, get out of this city and never come back." It was the needle prick. But here's the shocker. The officer is married, and his wife is the same crazed woman who attacked Justine at the store. She had been suspicious of him, which is why she demanded to know if he had come home earlier. Later, at the police station, the officer spots the drug dealer, the very man he told to run. Enraged, he yells, "Hey, what did I tell you?" The dealer takes off running, and the officer jumps in his car to give chase. This time, he won't be so lenient. The next segment is from the perspective of the drug dealer. He's a thief and a junkie, living in a tent in the forest. Despite the officer's threat, he stayed in town and kept up his stealing. His activities led him near Alex's house. Hoping for a score, he climbed up and slipped in through a window. The house was silent and dark. He saw Alex's mom and dad sitting in the reflection of the TV, like silent sentinels. He mumbled an apology, but when they didn't move, just sat there like statues. He quickly stole what he could and stuffed it into his bag. Just as he was about to leave, he heard a sound coming from the basement. He went to check and found the shocking truth. All 17 missing children were locked in the basement. Terrified, he ran. He went to sell his loot at a store where he noticed a poster of the missing children. His eyes lit up. He knew where they were, and he could get the reward. He started heading toward the police station, but the officers saw him and chased him off. The dealer escaped to the forest. There, he heard a terrifying laughter. He looked up and saw that same Joker-like person pointing at him. Convinced he was hallucinating from drugs, he ran into his tent. But then a shadow fell over the tent. It wasn't a hallucination. The figure started unzipping the tent. The dealer panicked, grabbed a syringe, and plunged it into the figure's face as soon as the tent opened. It was the officer. This time, the officer was even angrier and ready to kill him, but the dealer blurted out, "I know where the kids are. They're in the basement of that house." The officer stopped. "Okay, take me, show me." The officer handcuffed him, drove to the house, and left the dealer in the car while he went to the door. Someone opened it, and the officer was taken inside. The dealer waited for hours. It got dark. He was starting to lose it. The officer walked out, but he was completely changed. He looked insane, utterly out of control. He went straight to the car, dragged the drug dealer out, and hauled him toward the house. After Justine's warning, the principal called Alex's parents to school. Instead, a woman named Gladys showed up, claiming to be Alex's aunt and guardian because the parents were ill. If you remember that face, she is the source of the trouble. The principal insisted he had to speak to the parents, not a guardian, and she left. Later, the principal was relaxing at home with a friend when the doorbell rang. It was Gladys. She tricked her way in, asking for water. She was, in fact, a powerful witch skilled in black magic. Distracting them, she pulled a strange, thorny branch from her bag. She cut her own hand, letting it bleed. Then, she cut a lock of the principal's friend's hair with scissors and rang a bell, which instantly put the principal under her control. She wrapped the friend's hair around the branch and broke it. In a terrifying instant, the principal attacked his friend. He threw him down, vomited black goo on his face, and repeatedly headbutted him until his friend was gruesomely killed. The now possessed principal immediately ran to kill Justine at the gas station. We saw him attack Justine and Archer. When Justine fled into the store, the principal followed, a missile of rage. Justine was cornered until Archer intervened. The two of them were badly injured, but Justine managed to escape to her car. The principal, his eyes bloodshot, was right behind her, smashing the window with his fist, trying to grab her. He was relentless, a human weapon powered by the magic. This is why the film is called Weapons. Archer, seeing all this, got in his car to follow. Just as the principal was chasing Justine, another car suddenly came out of nowhere and violently blew him up. He was dead. Archer, finally realizing his horrible mistake, apologized to Justine. "I'm so sorry. I know it wasn't your fault." Justine forgave him. "What happened to him? He seemed fine just a few days ago," she asked, still in shock. Archer pointed to his map, showing her the intersection point. Justine realized that one of the intersecting houses was Alex's house. Now, we finally see the story from Alex's perspective, right from the start. Alex goes to school, and afterward, his dad picks him up, telling him that his Aunt Gladys is coming to live with them because she's very ill. Alex is hesitant. He doesn't know her. That night, Alex is reading his book on witches when he sees his dad bring Gladys in. She looks incredibly old and sick and is carrying a strange plant. The next day, Alex's dad doesn't pick him up from school. Alex waits but finally walks home alone. When he gets there, his mom and dad are home, but they're not right. They're sitting like puppets, talking in a robotic, monotone way. He's scared and confused. Gladys appears, looking much healthier than before. Because Alex reads about witches, he immediately knows she's a witch, and she did this to his parents. He tries to snap them out of it with water, but it doesn't work. Gladys tells him, "They don't listen to you anymore, only to me." She proves it, showing him the thorny twig, wrapping their hair around it and breaking it. His parents immediately pick up a log and start violently hitting themselves in the face. Alex screams for her to stop. Gladys puts the broken twig into a bowl of water and they stop. Gladys then lays out the rules. If he wants his parents to live, he must do exactly as she says and tell no one. She starts using him as her puppet. Alex sees her performing black magic in front of her special plant every day, which makes her look younger and healthier. But after a while, the effect wears off, and she starts looking old and weak again. Then, she gives him the final task. "If you do this for me, I will cure your mom and dad, and I will leave." He had to bring her something belonging to all of his classmates so she could control them. At school, he worried about stealing personal items, but then he spotted the name stickers on their desks. During playtime, he snuck into the class and peeled off all 17 stickers, putting them in his bag. He gave them to Gladys, and at 2017 a.m., she performed her black magic. The children were instantly controlled, running out of their homes in that plane pose and coming straight to Gladys's house. She locked them all in the basement. The next day, Alex was the only one in class. Gladys was the mastermind, keeping 17 children and 2 adults locked in the dark house. Alex was forced to feed them and go to school, carrying the terrifying secret all alone. Now, the final segment that ties everything together. In the present, Alex comes home from school to find a police car outside. Inside, the officer and the drug dealer are standing rigid, completely under Gladys's control. Gladys tells Alex to pack their bags. They're leaving. She makes his parents stand guard at the door. Outside, Archer and Justine arrive. The door opens and the officer is there. Justine and Archer go in, and immediately, the officer and the dealer attack. Archer fights the dealer, and Justine runs into the kitchen, pursued by the officer. He catches her. "What's wrong with you? Stop!" she cries, but he can't hear her. She grabs a potato peeler and violently slices his face open, hoping to hurt him enough to let go. But he doesn't even flinch. He's strangling her with incredible force. In a last-ditch effort, Justine shoots him in the neck. He doesn't die. She shoots him again, right in the head, and he finally falls. She runs to help Archer, who is being strangled by the dealer. Justine shoots and kills the dealer too. Archer then rushes to the basement, frantically searching for his son. She instantly snatches his locket, performs a quick bit of magic, and takes control of him. Archer races upstairs, now possessed, and grabs Justine. But here is the final brilliant twist. Alex manages to slip away and runs into Gladys's room. Her black magic branch and wig are lying there. Alex remembers what he saw her do. He grabs a lock of Gladys's own hair, wraps it around the branch, and snaps it. The magic instantly turns on Gladys. All 17 children suddenly become her enemies and rush toward her. Gladys screams and runs, but the children catch her. They swarm her, tearing out her eyes to show her her wicked life. They break her jaw, and then they tear her body apart until she is dead. With Gladys gone, Archer snaps out of it and releases Justine. Archer finally finds his son. Justine finds Alex, who was hugging his mom and dad. But even after all the horror, things aren't completely normal. They are all alive, but they are stuck in a strange, partially catatonic state. Some of the children are slowly recovering, but the rest, including Alex's parents, remain the same, like living dead. The reason some recovered and others didn't comes down to Gladys. Being old and frail, she wanted to be young and healthy. Her witchpin magic didn't just control them, she was stealing their life force to extend her own life. Alex's mom and dad were the first victims, and Gladys had drained so much of their life force that they became living dead with almost nothing left to recover. Some of the children and Archer were recovering because Gladys hadn't had enough time to take their life force completely before Alex broke the spell. But for the poor souls who weren't recovering, they were simply stuck, forever in that half-alive state, statues of their former selves. And that, tragically, is where the story ends. What a horrific ordeal to survive, right? It makes you wonder what state the children who did recover are left in mentally.